Who hasn't felt the need for deeper guidance, especially during moments of doubt or when facing important decisions? My guest today, Sonia Choquette, grew up in an environment where connection with spirit guides was an integral part of daily life. With decades of experience and a wise, heartfelt approach, she has dedicated her life to helping others connect with their own guides. Sonia is the author of the renowned book Ask Your Guides, a true reference in this field. Actually, Sonia Choquette herself is a true reference in this field because for over 40 years she has shared her teaching on spirituality. Her books have been translated into more than 27 languages and read by millions of people worldwide. She's someone I deeply admire, and I have had the chance of meeting her a few times now. She's sort of a mentor for me. Today we'll explore with Sonia how to live in harmony with our guides in our daily lives. How do they help us navigate this sometimes chaotic world? How can we overcome blocks to truly hear their voice? This promises to be a rich and illuminating conversation, so make yourself comfortable and let Sonia inspire you with her unique vision of a path guided by intuition and inner wisdom. Enjoy! Bonjour Sonia, hi, how are you?
Bonjour, Jenna. I am very well, thank you. So happy to be here with you today.
Yeah, I'm very happy to have you again because it's the second time that I welcome you on this channel, that we're doing an interview together. And actually, I remember very vividly the first time we did it, it was at your apartment in Paris. And when I thanked you for doing the interview, you said, I usually say no, but this time the vibe was right. And I was very honored. And I'm once again very honored to have you here to speak with
And
you.
the vibe is still so wonderful, so beautiful.
Great. So happy to hear that. And before we dive into this interview and before I give you the spotlight, I want to share a little personal story that is going to introduce our topic of the day about that interview, actually, because the reason I did ask you 5 years ago was because one morning I woke up and I heard my guide saying into my head loud and clear, you will interview Sonia Choquette. And I remember thinking, oh, I don't think so, I think she's very busy. She must have a lot of requests. I think also I'm just a French, young girl, and I don't think this is possible. But because I'm used to listening to those cues and those guidances, I said, well, let's try. I'm not going to have any expectation. I'm not going to be disappointed, but I'm not going to not act on it. And so I did ask, and you did say yes. And it was a wonderful moment. And I was really happy that I listened to my guides. And I've had, of course, many other experiences like this one. And I know you as well, of course, have a very strong connection with your guides. You have written a wonderful book that is called Ask Your Guides. I have it on my Kindle and my husband is reading it at the moment. I also have the Oracle deck that is beautiful that I use very often as well. And you grew up in a household where that type of relationship was encouraged, and you have had a strong relationship with your guide since a long time, right? You're going to tell us about that. Yeah, forever. So I'm curious, how do your spirit guides help you on a daily basis? How do they show up in your life, for your personal life, for your work? And it's been a long time. So how is it living with, that type of help?
Well, I don't know a different way of living. So I can say for me, what would be peculiar is if I had the perception that I was on my own in this world that is so at times overwhelming and hard to navigate. I've always had and have always grown up with the awareness that I have a divine support system that is very committed to my soul's best experience and also my soul's growth. However, I've also been made aware that my guides, while they're here to help, are not here to take over, not here to control, but to assist. So it gives me, and I've grown up with and have lived throughout my life quite fearlessly because I've always felt I have backup. I have protection, I have support, and if I pay attention, and I listen and I'm honest with myself and I am I am committed to my best life, that my guides will always be there to assist me. And now I've lived a long time. I'm 66, so I have had a lot of years of evidence for that to be true. So it just gives you what I've noticed between myself and people who have no connection with their guides, that without connection, you live in a very high state of fear and negativity. You tend to expect the worst. Whereas if you work with your guides, you can expect the best. You tend to be a little pessimistic because your ego is by nature has a negative bias. It's always going to scan for the worst because it works on survival. Whereas if you work with your guides, as I have my whole life, you're always poised for success, for a beautiful surprise, for something somehow that will help you. And so you don't spend as much time trying to figure things out as maybe someone who has not had the benefit of being connected with their guides. So as far as I'm concerned, it's the only way to live. To me, living without the knowledge that you had a divine support system could be quite oppressive, could be scary, it could cause you to be overly controlling and defensive and miss your opportunities because you would be afraid to take risks or follow your inner guidance. So it's been a wonderful and it's a natural way to live, and one that is not exclusive to me. It is our natural design. And that has been one of my devotions, is to help people experience life with support.
That's beautiful. And I feel the same way. I also sometimes hear, and I know maybe you too in your work, people saying to me either they feel they have been abandoned by their guides, which I think is impossible, but they have that feeling. Or other people sometimes say, well, I've been trying to hear them for so many years and I've been doing everything you say, but still I'm not hearing anything and I feel like I'm all alone. So how do you help those people? What do you say to them?
Well, it's like saying it's like saying if your guides are on the internet and you're trying to listen through a radio, an AM radio, you have to get on the bandwidth to make that connection. So if you're in your ego and you're in your fear, you're not going to feel your guides if you're in your head, because it's a limited bandwidth. It doesn't have the sensitivity to pick up the subtle support of guidance. Like if you were to reflect, for example, on that moment we said, well, I'll try, I'll ask for the interview. I'm sure that was subtle enough to ignore. If you chose that, it would have been easy enough to say, talk yourself out of it, which is why most people are not connecting with their guides, because they're letting their ego be too noisy.
Yeah.
The second thing is, it's important to have the right expectation about how guides work with you. You know, your guides don't abandon you, but nor are they going to take over your life and run it for you. It's like if you were to going to school, say you're struggling with an assignment, so you get a tutor, but the tutor isn't going to come and do your homework for you. The tutor is going to come and help you understand how things work so that you can succeed in accomplishing the understanding of the assignment. And life is a big assignment for us to understand. So our guides help in subtle, very gentle, but significant ways. There are certain things that will block your guides. First, you have to be somewhat quiet in the head. You have to be get that noisy head down. Now, you don't have to master meditation, but I recommend you begin. And then to quiet the mind, to get in touch with your guidance, a simple tool would be just go for a walk. Move some of this energy, move some of this adrenaline that causes fight or flight and a noisy brain and a lot of conversation in your head. or take a shower. Anything to kind of get out of the head and more into your body and into your heart. The second thing, and this is a big one, you'll want to actually be available to guidance. A lot of people say my guides abandoned me, but what they really mean is I didn't get what I wanted. The person I'm dating isn't loving me. My guides abandoned me. It's like, no, your guides were telling you this is not a good match for your spirit. So you have to want guidance instead of approval or agreement. And that's a big one. And then third, your guides can guide, but you make the ultimate choice. You've got the guidance, call Sonia, ask anyway, but you could have said, no, that's too risky. I don't want, and you said the important thing. It's okay. I won't be disappointed. A lot of people are so afraid of being disappointed that they won't open up at all to anything that is different than their control. Mm. And your guides are always telling you, advising and inviting you to try things that your ego would say, no, that means I have to be vulnerable, or I could risk being disappointed or losing control. So if you can be in the mindset, so the question I always say is, well, how guidable are you?
That's a good
one. How
guidable
are you? And when you can check on that, then the guidance will start coming more forward, more fluently. But if you can say, well, I'm pretty available.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because you hear both voices, right? I heard the guidance loud and clear. It was really like someone speaking into my head when I woke up. But then straight after that, and then, when you're used to that, you hear both sides of the story. I heard my mind say, well, I don't think this is possible, but because I'm used to it and because I know to, have a little bit of distance with that voice, I said, okay, I always say I put it on a shelf, meaning that I don't ignore it, but I don't make it my absolute truth. I'm just going to follow along, see what happens, and play with it, have fun with it. And I know this is also something you share about a lot. And
well, this is the entire, it's the most beautiful approach you can have, which is I call your mind voice your barking dog. Mm-hmm. I call that your ego. It's like a noisy barking dog. Have you ever had a neighbor who had a dog and it's bark, 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 bark? Every little thing it barks and it's not tamed and gets reactive. That voice is a protective voice, but it's also a fearful one. And it has a personality. Be careful, don't do that. That's not reasonable. That's not logical. Who do you think you are? That's crazy. It will have some reflection of that tone. Your guides, on the other hand, are very simple. Don't talk a lot. And for some people, you might hear a voice, but you may not. You might just get a very strong feeling in your heart. You might just have something drop into your head, no voice attached, just a complete aha. So this is what you want to do is pay attention to how you receive guidance. What is your personal channel? Because it's not one channel. It's multiple channels. Some people get a feeling in their stomach, some in their heart, some a voice in their head, some just a strong sensation. But you'll receive something very different than your traditional mindset. It'll be different. And your ego's reaction is to argue. And if you can do as brilliantly like you do, I'm just going to set you aside. I'm not going to fight with you. I hear you, but let's just consider this other option. Then as you consider the other option, notice your body. Does it feel uplifted? Does it feel relaxed? Does it feel excited? Does it feel curious? Those are the qualities of divine guidance. The energy it's going to have an effect on your overall energy. Does it feel like possibility? Oh, this could be quite exciting. It takes you out of that small corner that your ego keeps you in. And playful is definitely the key, because when you're playing, your ego says, oh, well, you're playing, so I'm going to step aside.
Not
I'm
for.
not going to feel threatened. And
Mm.
that very much is the front door to guidance. And one of my favorite games, a simple one, is just ask yourself out loud, I wonder what my guidance says. And just answer out loud. So we could do that right now to demonstrate if you'd like.
Yeah, it'd be my pleasure.
So Jenna, do you have a situation or a circumstance that you care to share where you would love some guidance?
Mm. I I don't know. Yes. I Yes, there is one that I've been working on. I have a book proposal that's for the English market, and it's done, it's ready. I've worked on it for the past year, and nothing's happening for the moment. So this is something I'd have to receive guidance on.
Okay. So the first thing to do when you want to receive guidance is you want to clear
Yeah.
the noise. So the noise is often the fears.
Mm-hmm.
So you can simply start by naming the dominant fears that might be in your mind. So you just do it really simply by filling in the blank. I'm afraid of.
I'm afraid of having worked for nothing.
I'm afraid of.
I'm afraid of mm, not being good enough in English, in speaking English, in writing in English, in being visible in that language.
Very good. Now take a breath and exhale. Just let things go. And we'll do one more. I'm afraid of.
I'm afraid of I don't know. I think that's the main one.
Okay, so
Also
you're
very
scanning.
excited about it.
Yeah, you're scanning your energy.
Yeah.
So now just take a nice breath, a loud breath where you open your jaw, and kind of drop into your heart with a sigh. And then you just listen to your heart and you say, well, my guides say, and fill in the blank.
Well, my guides say to have patience.
And my guides say,
And my guides say it will come at the right moment. And my guides
and
say try again, but to a different publishing house or to a different person, to a different contact. The contact has not arrived yet.
okay, see, you're feeling something. You're having a conversation. Can you feel that? There's a dialogue beginning with your guidance. And how is it leaving your body feel?
Relaxed, at ease. I feel like,
And your mind?
And my mind is quiet.
So you can tell there's a physically different response from when you're talking with your guides versus letting you talk to your mind.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
There's not that same tension. And then the third question I have is, does this feel true?
Yeah. Does it feel true? Yeah, it feels true.
See, there's when it's guidance, that yes comes very quickly.
Yeah, right away. There's not even questioning. It's like, yeah.
Exactly. So it's first let go of your fears, then sigh into your heart. And that sigh actually uses the vagus nerve, which lets all that tension out. Then you bring your attention to your heart where you receive guidance. This is the channel of guidance. Speak it out loud and then check. Does this feel true? Because if it's guidance, you will unequivocally say yes because you're feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
And then step 4 is you get a choice. You have the choice to listen or not.
Yeah, to act upon it or not.
Right. So you were told, okay, not quite yet. Change the channel. Maybe look for a different avenue. Consider a different way for this to happen. But you did not get, no way, that's never going to happen. You're crazy.
No, because I got the message about doing that in the first place from my guides and my inner guidance.
Exactly. So So, and what you're feeling is, does it feel congruent? Does it feel harmonious? Does it feel like there's no, and then you have to ask, do I have any resistance to the guidance?
Yeah, it feels evident. Like it feels like,
Excellent.
yeah, yeah,
Excellent. This is just and this was, thank you for helping me show people, because I
yeah,
think this demonstrates
sure.
how to actually engage with guidance instead of be stuck in your head and spinning around and feeling frustrated.
Yeah.
And you can see by this interaction that we went through these steps, there is no abandonment. If there's an abandonment, it's your ego jumping out and ignoring guidance, but it's never the guidance not speaking to you. But as in this case, sometimes the guidance is wait, not time yet.
Yeah.
That's also guidance.
Yeah. And we
So
can get frustrated
that's
or
something people
impatient.
want, people think all or nothing, black or white, let's go, let's stop. It's like sometimes it's pause, reorient,
Mm,
adjust little ways. And so this is a very effective exercise, but the key is to say, answer out loud.
yeah. To express it is to recognize that it's there. It's to give it space.
Opens the channel too. It opens the throat chakra and the heart chakra,
Yeah.
so that you have the ability to listen, because what you're listening to when you hear that strong inner voice is coming from your heart.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yes,
That is where the guides, they speak through the heart.
of course. Yeah. And we're just translating the vibration, right? They're,
Absolutely. I actually say guides don't speak your native language.
yeah,
Guides speak energy, and then you interpret it.
of course. Yeah.
It's just like music. Music doesn't speak words. Music speaks feeling, though.
Mm,
There's a very different feeling between a marching band song versus a romantic love song versus a little kid's joyful game song. So those are different vibrations, but we fully understand what they're communicating.
mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And you've also touched upon something that I wanted to talk about with you today. So I feel like this is going very smoothly, is the fact that we are doing the work. The guides are here to help, to nudge, to share wisdom, but they are not here to take our place, and they cannot do the work and live our life for us. So I feel like sometimes we can ask for help and pray that we receive that help, but shouldn't we pray for us as well to be open and to be receptive to that guidance? And what else can we do? Like, is there a mindset that we can be to fully let go and be receptive? Because I feel like this is the main point why people are so
Right.
reluctant.
Well, I think that we misinterpret guides for authorities. We've been taught in school and with parents and growing up, many of us anyway, that there is something smarter than us or some authority that overrides our own personal self sovereignty and responsibility. And that is not how guides work. Guides are like if you're playing a game, a sport, and you have a coach. Now, the coach may know the game very well, but the coach is not going to say, look, I'll do you a favor. You sit down and I'm going to play the game for you. And nobody would want that anyway. Nobody wants to have the game taken away. They just want to be helped to play a better game. So we need to understand that your guides aren't authorities, they're advisors. And your authority is your own spirit and the highest guide you have, your higher self. So I was taught when I was very young, and do to this day, start every day saying, divine spirit in me, move me in the direction of my highest good today. My mind, my emotions, my words, my actions, my body, move me in the direction of my highest good today. And that's the mindset to be guided. And it moves you. You
Yeah.
will be going one way, and all of a sudden you'll just turn and go a different direction, but you've opened yourself up to that availability.
Mm.
And sometimes I've gotten guidance where there were no words involved at all. I was just moved into place. All of a sudden, my body turns and goes somewhere else, and there I meet some life-changing experience. So it's the simplest way to make yourself available to guidance, and don't confuse that with saying, well, I'll just sit back and let my spirit guides make all my decisions, because that is not the agreement.
Yeah.
They are here to help you, and you make the decisions, and not making decisions is a decision as well.
Yeah.
But your guides are never going to take over. They're just going to suggest. Think of it like this. I like to give examples, like when you're driving in a car with GPS, and your GPS has a voice saying, continue straight. And after a while, you get annoyed with the traffic, so you go left. So the guide isn't going to go, oh my God, you blew it. The voice is going to say rerouting, recalculating the route. And they're going to keep trying to always lead you in the direction of your highest good. Even if you drift off and completely don't follow directions, your guides are going to keep calculating the route, so that's a good way to understand how guidance works. It's always trying to move you in that direction, knowing full well your choices could be all over the map.
Yeah, because we have our free will at the end of the day, and this is what we're supposed to live going on this earth, to grow, to use our power of choice. And they're not here to do the work for
Interfere in
us.
any way.
Yeah. And
in fact, I would be skeptical if you ever felt like I have to do this, because my guides say, if you ever get guidance that goes against your sense of freedom and autonomy and morals, and that's not guidance. That's just ego, your ego or someone's ego manipulating you. Guidance will always leave you feeling more authentic, more peaceful, more calm, and more authentic, really, more of who you actually are and want to be.
Exactly. This is the path of the soul, the path of the spirit, and it's always coming back to our divine essence. And I feel like as we're growing, our guides are growing with us, or the level of their guidance is growing with us as well. Can you talk about that a little bit? Can they grow with us, and can we outgrow a guide?
Well, we can absolutely, and hopefully we will outgrow. Your guides are just going to always match where you are energetically in your consciousness. So when you're just beginning, you're going to get those guides that are perfect for that beginning experience. And as you evolve, you're going to be met with more challenges. You're going to be met with greater opportunity to grow and become fully in charge of your ability to be the master of your life. You're going to get more sophisticated or different sets of guides. It's just like when you go to different grades in school, you're going to get different teachers, different tutors, because you're going to have different experiences. So our guides are always rotating in and out, with the exception of you have a guardian angel that was with you when you were born. It will be with you until you go back to spirit. And then you have one primary companion guide that is just sort of like your spirit best friend. Children often recognize that by telling their parents, I have a spirit friend.
Yeah.
And if you have conscious parents, they'll say, like I did, great, and who is it? And share that. Or they might even be conscious enough to say, I see you too, I sense you as well. But parents often, if they're unfamiliar, will say, you're being ridiculous, that's fantasy. Although, Jenna, I would say that's happening less often. I think that, but a lot of us started out, and some of the people listening may still remember their childhood invisible friend. That's your primary spirit companion. So the rest rotate depending on what you're doing, what you're focused on, what you need. They will move in and out according to what level of support they can offer you. And the good news is you don't have to orchestrate that. You just need to know where you're going, just like the GPS.
Yeah.
And then the support to get you there will keep showing up.
Yeah. This is the wisdom of the universe, is that we're just here to create and to live our life and to grow and to also take risks, as you said before. And I think this is important to mention, is this path of intuition and of being connected with our guides is often seen as, oh, it's going to be easier and it's going to be smooth and a happy and calm ride. And yes, it will make things easier, but also I would like to mention, you'll tell me if you agree with me, that it's also a path of bravery, of courage, because you have to change direction sometimes. You have to, you know, follow that guidance that you have that will make you face your fears or do something unexpected. Or sometimes, you know, people will not understand the choice that you're making. And it also takes a little bit of, or maybe a lot of courage. And yeah, do you feel that as well for
I
your
think
life
everything
too?
you're saying is absolutely true. Following a guided, intuitive life goes against our cultural indoctrination that we have to be only logical. We have to always have an intellectual reason for things. We have to have a guarantee.
Yes.
And so to leave that kind of narrow, small, and quite honestly, unnatural way of living behind takes courage. You may be, you might be met with people who will laugh at you or dismiss you or threaten you or tell you that you're threatening yourself. Mm-hmm. And you'll have to face those interferences, but you don't have to get anybody to agree with you.
Yeah.
All you need to say, the most courageous thing you can do is take full responsibility for your choices and their outcome and say, I'm going to choose to listen to my guidance because it works for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm okay if you don't agree. I'm sorry if it makes you uncomfortable, but I'm still going to do what works for me. And I'm willing to accept the consequences. And that pretty much will eliminate your interference. I have an example of that. I have a client that I am mentoring because I do mentoring. And he wanted to take his family, wife, but he has 3 small children, all under the age of 10, and leave California where they lived and travel the world for 1 year because his guidance told him that that would lead him to his path, his purpose, deeper understanding. And he had a very good job. And so that was a big risk. And his family, his friends, his colleagues, his work, everybody said, you're crazy. You're hurting your children. You're taking them out of school. How selfish. What a folly. But he had to face all of that down because he said the feeling and the guidance was so strong. And they haven't completed their year. They're only a third into it. But they're having the best experience individually as well as a family. They are working together as a family. They play together. They have adventures together. So that alone is worth this, following the guidance, because they're a happy family. And I said, that's your soul work, is to show people how to have a happy family, because most people don't.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It's so interesting when you're following your soul path, your spirit path, and the guidance that you receive, you're also inspiring the rest of the world. You're also raising the vibration. You're also doing your mission. And this is so beautiful.
Right. It is definitely, I would say, working with your guides and making the choice to follow the path of inner guidance and authenticity will fulfill your sense of purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are looking for purpose, this is quite honestly, I think the only way you're going to actually truly fulfill it is to go inward, face the opposition, face your own fears and control, open to a sense of fun and adventure. Allow yourself to actually be helped, that it doesn't have to be a constant struggle, that it can be easier. It can be joyful, surprising, serendipitous. And that's a different way to live, but it is contagious.
I love it.
People, when you're around that, you're happy, you're uplifting, you're bright, your energy is shining, and it's very contagious. People will say, "What are you doing? You have such a good energy. I want to do what you're doing." And they absolutely will.
Yeah, I love this. And also, I feel like at the same time, we're, you know, inspiring others and finding our purpose and doing our soul mission. But at the same time, we're also, while listening to that guidance, facing some of our fears and growing and becoming more congruent, like you said before. It's like, both sides of the same
Well,
path is
I don't even think it sometimes, Jen. I think that if you're going to live a guided life, you have to take a very clear, self-reflective look at your fears and ask yourself, it's not that you get over your fears necessarily, but you want to at least say, I'm not going to let my fears make my choices,
exactly. Mm,
especially if those, and let me just also clarify my ungrounded fears. I'm not saying just throw yourself to the wild wind and don't wait for the green light before you step into traffic. I am saying discern, notice the difference between fears that are just fantasy fears and habits of resistance to responsibility, patterns, maybe even behaviors. That the other thing that we have to look at is, am I sober? Am I taking care of my health? Am I a clear channel? And if you're angry and if you're always fighting, you have to calm that down. So you have to be able to go inward and say, what am I so angry about? Which is always boundary violations and taking responsibility for yourself and having boundaries. So you working with guides is like the graduation course of self-awareness and self-empowerment. But that's what makes humans happy. The more self-aware and self-empowered, the more relaxed, at ease, and fulfilled we are.
yeah. And I love the fact that you say when we have emotions or when we're too in our head, and this is something that my guides have told me as well. They say it's like a big cloud that is gonna make it difficult for us, or for me in that case, to receive the guidance. And can you talk about that a little bit? The importance of our emotional state, our mental state for us to be a clear channel,
Well, we're emotional beings. So if you are emotional, you're not available
right?
to receive much of anything. So just acknowledge your emotions, which is one of the reasons we did the tool I'm afraid of. Those are emotions you're trying to manage and stuff. Just look at them. Also, your emotions, if they feel threatened, can create physiological changes in your body. You can have adrenaline and cortisol. So you go into fight or flight and you're not available to anything. So I recommend you move your body, go for a walk, go for a run, take a shower, go play a game, go work in the garden, but do something to move this upset, troubled energy. Journaling is good too. Just journal everything until you're empty. Then turn to your guidance. But don't judge yourself for being emotional. Study it and allow yourself to. Emotion means energy in motion. Let it keep moving instead of trying to stop and control or deny it. And tell yourself, if you're really emotional and you're trying to get guidance, say, I'm afraid, I'm upset, I'm angry, I feel trapped, I feel disconnected, I'm going to go for a walk, but this will pass. This mental state, this emotional state I'm in is temporary.
Yeah.
It will pass.
Yeah.
And because it will, emotions change. And if they're really heavy and they don't pass, then you have to say to yourself, well, this is something I need to look at and learn more about. If I'm depressed or I'm stuck in chronic anger, then maybe I need to do some journaling. Maybe I need some therapy. Maybe I need to read some more books to understand this so I can clear it, because we're not meant to stay stuck in any heavy, upset, sorrowful energy. And so your guides will then help you get the right book, or get the therapist, or get the group, or get the find the basketball to go play. So the guides are going to help you in every moment they can, with every step of the way. So even if you're an emotional wreck, your guides will still help you find your way out if you're willing. And you accept I am. The biggest trouble with emotions is when you say, no, I'm fine, which is massive denial and untrue, in which case everything stops. But it's okay to say, I'm upset, I'm disappointed, I'm angry, I'm hurt, I'm wounded, I'm stuck. Aren't we all sometimes?
Yeah.
So you don't judge that, but you determine that I'm going to get it to move on in the healthiest way, in the most authentic, thorough way, not a bypass, not fake.
Yeah.
Really looking at this, because these are your lessons.
Of
These
course.
are the things that give you a chance to grow.
Mm-hmm. All of this without getting identified with it.
Right. This is just an experience I'm having. This is not me. This is just a moment in time.
Yeah.
Even if it's a long moment in time, it's temporary.
Of course.
I need to understand it so it will break up and release and move on.
Yeah, I think this will help a lot of people. And before we conclude that interview, I want to circle back to what you mentioned about, other people having either prejudice or, looking at you weird, or having all sorts of thoughts about you when you're living that life. And you have been living that life for a long time, and
Right.
and sharing your way. And I want to have your personal experience. How does it feel to have seen the world change? Because I feel like we are now in a vibration, in a state of mind for a lot of people that is way different than it was 20 years ago or even before that.
Absolutely.
What is your take on that?
I feel grateful that my time has come. I feel like what I've been talking, like, it's like when you live somewhere and you're out in the field and you're all by yourself in the field and everybody's laughing at you and saying, look at that weirdo out there. And then the next thing you know, the field turns to the suburbs, we're in the center of the city. It came to me. So the world has changed so much and so fast that we need our guides. And we need our inner senses to work to guide us, because we don't have a predictable known. Everything that was predictable is now unpredictable. Our jobs, our planet, our economies, our understanding of science, every single thing that we thought was absolute isn't. Now, all of a sudden, it's being like, wait a minute, we're learning more, things are changing, and we don't know what's going on. So it's a very exciting time for me, because I very rarely anymore get any sort of pushback to say, you're weird, you're strange, that's weird. It doesn't happen. It used to be my way of life. Everybody thought I was just off the wall and delusional and crazy. But today, I'm being invited to go into corporations and hospitals and education systems to teach how to work with guides. So the culture's changed.
Yeah.
The planet has evolved, and it's so exciting and so affirming, because one thing that will happen as more people get connected to their inner guidance is we will become less fearful, more aware, more conscious, more connected, more loving, and we'll make better choices for ourselves and for our communities and our planet. So it gives me great hope for the future.
Absolutely. I feel like this is wonderful to hear, and this is such a hopeful message that our time has come, and we can also have a spiritual coming out, as I say sometimes, like we can live our truth even more and own it even more, and we can tell that everything is, we can see a lot of people changing their mind or having shifts in consciousness, and this is wonderful to see, to witness.
And if you're among people who aren't supporting of you, all you have to say is, well, it works for me.
Yeah.
I'm listening to what works for me, and I'm willing to live with it.
Mhm.
And that disarms people and keeps you from living for approval.
Exactly.
And so that's a simple way until others catch up. To just say, well, yeah, call me crazy, yeah, call me a weirdo, but it works for me and I'm having a wonderful time. And then that'll stop the criticism. It always does.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing all of this wisdom and your experiences and everything you have to share. As always, it's so inspiring, and I love talking with you. And I often, very often, recommend your books and your work. And I know you share a lot on your YouTube channel, so I highly recommend people go and watch that as well every week.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And anybody who wants to come, you can find me on those channels. But also, I just have a parting question for you,
Yes.
which is, what is the name of your book? Because
Yeah.
I would love for everybody to hear about that too.
Yeah. The name of my book, how is it called in English? Let me recommend. I don't even remember. It's been so long since I've done the book proposal. It's come out in French, which the title in French is something like Incarnation Guide for Light Workers, to help all of the light workers to, you know, take their place in the world and own their sensibility and own who they are, their mission, their purpose. Because I see a lot of repetitive patterns on those people. They
Well,
often,
that book just sounds fantastic and really valuable and important. And I'm sure we will all love to read it.
yeah, I'm hoping it will be released in English soon, but it will.
No. Just thank you, guides, for all the help
Yes.
in advance. Thank
Thank
you
you
in advance
guys.
for the help as it's
Exactly.
coming to be.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's
Yeah.
been so wonderful seeing you again, and thank you for the
Yes.
pleasure to speak with your community. It was an honor for me, and I love seeing you again. And I send all of you all my love.
Thank you so much, Sonia. It was an honor from my side as well. Thank you again for the time, and see you soon.
See you again. All my love. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye.